New Antioch, the faction that Cadia wished it was, being able to rebuild itself from the ashes and continue fighting on against the evil hellspawns. Too soon? Hello everyone, 3.1- here, once again to give you a gut-wrenching, eye-watering, and hard-hitting video, this time on Hell's most formidable foes, New Antioch. Before I jump straight into the action, I just want to thank all you fine and lovely people. At the time of this recording, we have hit over 1,000 subscribers. Like, holy hell, thank you. I appreciate it so much. Okay, enough of my yapping. Let's get on to what you're here for. Let's start at the beginning. There wasn't always a New Antioch. You don't say, 3 dots. With a name starting with new, who could guess, right? Alright, smartass, listen up. The original Antioch is fortified and becomes the focal point of resisting Hell's overlords in 1102. This is just 3 years after the Knights Templar unleashes Hell on Earth. Fast forward a few hundred years, and we see the city get blown to Kingdom Come by a mysterious weapon that I'm sure Marbus had a lion's paw in. Despite being bombarded by demonic firepower, a garrison still held on within, even as the capital of Constantinople was conquered by Chimerus, a demon from the Ars Goetia. Antioch has always been the first line of defense against Hell. Because of this, the Sword Congress of Vienna came to the agreement that Antioch should be rebuilt, fortified, and for a yearly tithe to be sent to the god-loving homies. This tithe that they receive ain't just coin though. Antioch receives a nearly endless supply of tools, food, ammo, weapons, machines, and skilled laborers. You just can't kill heretics by throwing money at them. Because of these tolls coming from all the faithful nations, we start to see New Antioch becoming a melting pot of different cultures. Hundreds of separate languages and dialects are spoken within the mighty city due to the mass shipment of people. Despite their differences, however, they are all united in their mutual hatred of the heretics. The guy who runs all this has the title of Duke of New Antioch. This person is not only charged with the care of the city, but it's also the supreme commander of the faithful forces. However, even though all the troops that are sent to New Antioch swear fealty to the Duke, they operate in their own organized warbands, their group's leaders making most of their strategic decisions for them. Despite this, some feel so charged by the Duke that they renounce their previous citizenship to take up arms for the Duke and him alone. Talk about a motivational speaker. Now we come to the present day of 1914. The current leader is Duke Constantine. He dispatches small forces into no man's land. Their missions are plentiful, whether it be finding artifacts, gathering intelligence, or conducting raids. These warbands have their work cut out for them though, because the Duke only gives them the order to do these tasks. It's up to them to raise funds and recruit soldiers. However, with the desolate war zones being littered with relics and wealth, ambitious leaders are willing to answer the call. But it's not just demonic heretics that these warbands have to worry about. Competition is stiff for supplies on the war front. The forces of New Antioch may even have to come to blows with the occasional procession of trench pilgrims. Now, who are the typical boys and girls you may see within these warbands? Let's break down some of the units, shall we? First off, we got your classic lieutenants. Not much is given on these fellas, except they're going to be your leaders for your warband. Sometimes they happen to be some noble person's son or daughter, so they get placed in a high-ranking position, sorta like in real life, or they were some scrub like the rest of us and have found a way to impress their superiors, whether it be through courageousness or expert strategy. Not only do these guys command over the warband, but they're also charged with coordinating supply acquisition. Believe it or not, since Uber Eats and FedEx can't make it to the trenches, these lieutenants have to have their warriors loot the battlefield and sometimes raid villages. You gotta love it. These fellas also get first dibs on the good shit, so it's not uncommon to see these guys roaming the fields pimped out with a dragon skin op. Up next, trench clerics inspire their comrades in battle by chanting prayers and conducting miracles, such as healing allies or smiting enemies. These dudes are straight up just clerics from the less grimdark D&D. Shocker, I know. But instead of praying to Lathander, these dudes pay devotion to saints, archangels, or the Big G himself. They normally do this by carrying some sort of shrine on their back, no matter how impractical. But this is Trench Crusade. Nothing is impractical when you have God on your side. Now we have Sniper Priest. I'm not gonna lie, with a name like that, I already love them. Sniper Priest? Damn, that's cool. Anyway, you can take 2 of these bad boys, which is awesome. I'll probably be doing that when I eventually build my warband. In the lore, it is stated that these dudes ritually blind themselves to show devotion to God. So these fellas are blind snipers, utilizing only their faith to headshot heretics? Apparently in an event called the Siege of St. Lux, there are stories of a particular sniper priest that was no-scoping demon worshippers from 3 miles away. Now I know for a fact, I definitely need 2 of them. Alright, for basic troops, we got yeomen. Exactly like I said, these guys are basic. Your cut standard soldiers who are ready to die for the Lord and the Duke of New Antioch. Despite not having as much military training as more elite choices, you're able to field way more of them along with a wider array of weapons. Also, for 10 ducats, you could turn a yeoman into a trench mole, which I thought maybe they actually turned into some freaky half-human, half-mole creature, but alas, it's sadly not the case. The in-lore reason for them being called trench moles is because they better utilize tunnels that go across no man's land. In-game, they gain the infiltrator keyword, which allows them to be placed anywhere on the board as long as they are 8 inches away from an enemy and are out of sight. Next are shock troopers. Basically the same thing as the yeomen, except they're more expensive along with being a bit more elite. They have some better rules to accompany them for the 5-point price increase. According to the playtest rules, these guys specialize in attacking enemy defensive positions along with being masters at rapid assault and melee combat. After the shock troopers, we get the combat engineers. These dudes are great at destroying enemy fortifications, building defensive walls, and sweeping for mines. Casualties are extremely high with these fellas, but they don't mind because it's considered an honor to die for New Antioch in the church. These dudes inherently are equipped with shovels and steel body armor. That way they can invoke their inner Shovel Knight. I could do a Krieg meme, but I like Shovel Knight more. Sue me. As of now, you can have 2 of these guys in your warband, and they come with a whole host of abilities that should be on screen now. Very neat. Now, we get up to 3 guys who are simply called Mechanized Heavy Infantry. Huge soldiers that are armored to the teeth. These guys wade into battle utilizing heavy weaponry. They're the best soldiers that New Antioch has to offer and are gifted with heavy chemical enhancements. These guys are on a 32mm base, so I guess you can say they're like a Space Marine in that regard, but I think these guys might be like the missing link of a Space Marine and a Paladin and Power Armor from Fallout. That would just be Frank Horrigan at that point. Okay, enough. These guys are badass, and that's all you need to know. And finally, we get combat medics. These sisters come from an elite trained medical corps. Their strong suits include combat first aid, along with impromptu surgeries on the fields of fire. They take a modified version of the Hippocratic Oath. That way they can help the wounded soldiers of the faithful, while also being able to dispatch the filthy heretics. This also allows them to avoid any legal trouble in regards to medical malpractice. Very clever. From a visual point of view, these ladies look like something straight up out of Silent Hill, so that gives them a huge thumbs up for me because those games fucking rock. Sadly, you can only take 1 of them, but I'm sure if you could take multiple of them, it would be broken. Maybe we could see a warband where the whole focus is medical staff. Maybe we could have like a toned down version of the combat medics, so you could take multiple. Then as like an elite choice, maybe you could get like a Catholic surgeon or something, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I'd love to know what kind of variant warband y'all would want to see. Let me know in the comments below. Speaking of variant warbands, we get 4 of them with New Antioch. First, we get the Papal States Intervention Force. This warband works directly under the Supreme Pontiff of Rome, and in case you don't know, that's the Pope, rather than the Duke of New Antioch. They normally are dispatched to the front lines in order to hunt down influential heretic leaders or recover lost artifacts. They are considered a specialist force, so you're going to start off with less money to recruit your warband, but in return you get glory points. Glory points can get you even more elite units or gear. These guys can upgrade their basic troops to Swiss Guard, which makes them immune to fear. There are some other things in there that makes these guys more unique that I'm not going to go over because the video is already longer than what I intended, but if you're really interested in the Pope's Holy Warriors, you can check them out in the playtest rules, which will be linked in the description. Next, we go to Ireland for the Era Rangers. Basically, Ireland is constantly being bombarded by heretic navies along with warbands of the Black Grail coming in to fuck shit up. Ireland has been put through the damn gauntlet, but it has only strengthened their resolve as they now field some of the best warriors when it comes to skirmishes, hit and run tactics, and ambushes. It's stated that the church sees the Era Rangers' behavior as troublemaking and godless, but they are welcomed fighters on the front lines due to their combat prowess. Apparently they maintain pagan traditions, such as wearing grisly trophies or displaying the skulls of heretics in the battle. These guys seem really cool if you're looking for a less holy church aesthetic, and are seeking for something a bit more pagan. Now we got the Sturmtruppen of the Free States of Prussia. These warbands are placed deep in enemy territory, operating on secret orders or very select missions from the higher commands of New Antioch. The shock troopers of the Free States are trained to do lightning assaults, close combat, and operate in combined fire teams. To even be considered for this elite group of warriors would mean to meet high standards, such as being a high-level athlete, unmarried, under 25 years of age, and show high levels of aggression, and so on. When inducted, these guys swear an oath that reads, "To each his own, to me, death." Now that's badass. Finally, we got the Kingdom of Alba. Just like the Era, these guys have felt the heavy losses from the submarines and ships that the heretics field. It even states that the heretics carry off their young with vessels to sacrifice to their demons during these raids. This has caused friction with Britain because the English owned a famed moving fortress that protects the shores, yet they do not utilize the ship to help secure the Scottish coast. However, when the chance arrives, the Kingdom of Alba sends men and women to New Antioch to enact revenge on the unholy. It also helps that they seek glory, forgiveness, along with some nice loot to send back to their country. These guys also prefer savage charges and close combat over long distance engagements. Alright, that's about everything I could think of that's initially important for these guys. Like I said earlier, if you want to read more about the Principality of New Antioch, the lore primer playtest rules will be in the description. To be honest, there's not much, and you could probably read it yourself within a pretty short amount of time. Hopefully with the Kickstarter that's rumored to be out soon, we can definitely get more lore on these guys. So in conclusion, New Antioch is significantly important for the faithful. They are the first line of defense, and they make sure to do a damn good job at it. If Antioch were to fall again, it could be speculated that the rest of the world would succumb shortly after. So if you're thinking of making a warband, what are you waiting for? Hop to it. The Duke commands it. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then drop a like. But if you really loved it, then do me a favor and subscribe. Doing this will let me know that this is the kind of content you like. For any of you that really want to go the extra mile to show me support, consider heading over to my Patreon. Speaking of patrons, I want to thank Jim Dowdall and Willy Cat. Without people like you two, none of this could be possible. Revenue that I receive from the Patreon goes towards reinvesting into the content I'm making here. I'm also working on getting a Discord set up for Patreon supporters, but I'm currently a one-man band and I'm having to do a lot of Google foo. But it's coming. The idea is I can cultivate a community where we can discuss anything grimdark, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever, you know? Other perks with your support will include getting to vote on future video subjects, early access to videos, and being featured in the end credits. The link will be in the description as well as on the channel. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me today, and I look forward to talking to you again real soon.